We have one change to the agenda. We have what might be described as a emergency request for a sewer hookup because of some issues that a citizen is having. So, but first, why don't we start off with the warrants? Do I do the warrants first?
Sure, but can I just have an approval for revising the agenda to include the, I can't remember their name all of a sudden. The Wimbles.
Cole and Adams Wimble.
Yes, the Wimbles.
One twin court. Right.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
Everyone's good with that?
We'll do that right after the, why don't we do that right now?
Do it now.
Okay.
Sure, that's even better.
So why don't you give a little background on this, Gary?
Ms. Wimble came to the office this morning stating that her on-site sewer was no longer working. They had been slowly working towards getting a sewer. They had analyzed whether or not to go with an on-site sewer system or versus the city. They realized they would prefer to go with the municipal sewer hookup. They thought they could wait until spring. They cannot. They could not. So she came to us asking if we would, although it's short notice, consider approving the request so they can go to the city tomorrow and get their excavator moving on it as soon as possible.
Okay.
They're asking for a single-family home, one EU.
And they already have a water hookup.
They are, yes, they are current city water customers.
Anything else on that? It looks pretty straightforward. I mean, they have to have septic of some kind or another.
This is the most affordable, long-term, and
Most realistic.
there's the phone.
Do we have any questions or comments? Member of the select board?
I'll make a motion to approve the wastewater request for Nicole and Adam Wimble at One Twin Court, St. Albans, Vermont. Dated today to 4/8/19.
Right, okay. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we just endorse this for her. Thank you.
Yep. I did not.
Okay, now back to the warrants.
I can start if you want.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I've got a couple of payroll warrants here. Wait a minute. I've got an industrial park warrant in the sum of $1,350. $1,295 was the Champlain Associates, and $55 was to Goslin Electric, for a total of $1,350.
Okay. Any
And I'll do
questions?
the second one, we'll
All right.
do them all at once. Excuse me, I got two more. I got two payroll warrants. One is dated February 1st, and it's for the sum of $17,780.74. The second one would be dated January 25th for $28,544.50. And I request we approve these warrants.
Okay, any questions or comments on those? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I have the general warrants dated 2/4/19 for it's a low amount, $39,950. There were a total of 82 voices. The bulk of that was road salt for $16,350, and there was 11 invoices from Clarence Brown for $56.65.
Okay, any questions or comments on those? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Minutes, we have our minute
We
amount.
have sets of 3 minutes. I'm going to do each one individually, or motion each one individually. The first being the Select Board meeting of Wednesday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. And I have, I believe, 2 minor changes to that.
And they are?
On page 7,
Huh?
the
Wait a second, what do we?
Which warrant, Alan, is it?
this is the 23rd.
6 o'clock. The minutes
Oh,
on,
the 6 o'clock, not the 6 o'clock, not the
Which
5
minute?
o'clock meeting.
The 6 o'clock one.
All right.
I didn't put them in order. I will say that my eyes are failing with this font.
it's the same font.
So go ahead.
Okay. It's 5 for those people who are interested. Just about 2/3 down the page, with the sentence beginning in quotes, in the intervening years, number 1, the town is making the Bay Park a destination park for several visitors. I believe, I couldn't remember what I said, but it's not several visitors. Multiple visitors?
Just for visitors.
Just for
I
visitors.
think it's for visitors.
Okay, so we need to remove the word several. And the next was on the following page, on the very first paragraph. About the 5th line down, the sentence begins, this will take us it should be while. You get this mapped out.
A while, yeah, okay.
And, pardon?
Got you.
That's fine, I just got it.
And on the next page, again at the top, beginning the paragraph, it says, children who live here. The next sentence, a better community that we inherited. It should be a better community than we inherited.
Okay.
With those changes, I move that we accept the minutes as written or as amended.
Recommended. Any questions or comments from anybody? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, the
Minutes of the 5 p.m. meeting with the Select Board on the January 23rd are okay as written, without correction as written.
any questions or comments on that?
None.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries.
And finally, on the minutes of Thursday, January 17th at 5 p.m., the fifth paragraph down, the board agreed to go with Connor Contracting for the contract to not building but build the DPW garage.
Didn't we have in there somewhere subject to contract?
That's further down.
All right, okay.
Actually, I think it's the motion. Brendan Deso made a motion to approve the
Yep. Subject to mutually
subject to
agreeable.
mutually agreeable contract.
Yep.
All right. So is that the only change you had?
Just you changed building to build.
Right.
And I move they be accepted as amended.
Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, liquor control board. So I make a motion to recess the select board and to open the liquor control board. Any objection to that? Okay. I have a list of all the renewal applications, and what I propose to do is read them all off to you. But before I do that, Anna, are there any legal issues or actions taken against any of these that would cause us not to?
There have been no violations.
No violations?
They're all in good standing.
All in good standing, okay. Having said that, and the difference between, there are three different things we're going to look at is a first-class license, which is to sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages, including spirits, whiskey, things like that. Second class, you can sell wine and beer, but not whiskey. And the third thing we're going to look at is outside consumption, which allows certain vendors to serve outside in addition to being inside. And there are only a couple of those. So I'll read down the name and then the type of license. And I would move that we approve the renewals for 2019 for the following. Colonial Mart, second-class license. Maple Fields North, second-class license. Maple Fields South, second-class license. The American Legion, first-class license. The American Legion and Outside Consumption license. Pie in the Sky, a first-class license. Walmart, second-class. Hannaford's, second-class license. St. Albans Jolly, second-class license. Pizza Hut, first-class. Mill River Brewing, first-class. and Mill River Brewing outside consumption, and finally, Price Chopper second class. So if we have any questions or comments about any of these, if not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah, why don't I pass it down? There's a lot of signing to do, so why don't I start off with Brendan? Some of them, okay. So now I'd then like to close the Liquor Control Board and reopen the Select Board. Any objections to that? Okay. Now, moving right along, we have a certificate of highway mileage. Okay. Alan, you want to address that?
We didn't take out any new roads last year, so the existing mileage that we already have stayed the same.
So that's,
Fairly cut and dry.
But the state still requires that we do this every year.
okay. So what we have is class 1, 2, and 3 and state highway, a total of 80.5.
We don't have any class ones.
Okay, but in that category. We don't have any there, so it's really class 2, class 3, and state highway. And that's 80.584 miles. And we have one class 4 of 1.27 miles. That doesn't get counted in our highway mileage, does it? No, it's not part of it.
We don't get reimbursed for that either. Nothing.
So then I'd like to have the authorization, well, we can sign this all together.
Bill, is there 2 roads that are class 4 in town?
Is it Forest Drive, is that one?
They consider that near Grace Road.
Is that Thorpe Ave?
What's that?
Thorpe Avenue.
Yeah,
That's the name before they shut it down.
Pardon me? Oh. Okay. It's all right, good. I want to hear what you say, right? Okay.
Just those 2.
So we can approve this?
So
Any
moved.
objections? Good.
For the
Okay, thank
motion?
you.
I think we need a motion, and then you
Okay,
guys need to
so
sign
now-
it.
So I move that we approve it.
Al made it, and there was no objection, so motion carries. And we can sign this later. Jen won't let us out of here until we sign. Okay. Now, this is what, the second and final?
It is.
Hearing.
We made some changes at the last hearing, and
Right.
Ned will come up to answer any questions you have.
Okay.
He's in the back. There he is.
Ned, front and center.
As Becky discussed it with Ned, and they got a little other information. They discovered we didn't need to go back to the beginning and start warning everything all over again.
Right.
So this is your final hearing on this, and I will read that motion unless you'd like to.
No, go ahead. I mean, just between this and the last time we reviewed it, the only change was in the percentage bond that would be required, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Just 2 different things, and
Right.
that was it.
That was the only change.
The table of contents was added, page numbers were,
Okay.
it was condensed a little bit by like 5 pages, but those are the only changes.
Nothing of substance.
Correct, which is why we're having the final hearing. So,
Okay. Please go ahead.
okay, in accordance with the Vermont Planning and Development Act, 24 VSA, Chapter 117, this public hearing is to hereby review and update the Unified Development Bylaws and Zoning Map for the town of St. Albans, Vermont. Unified Development Bylaws and Zoning Map, upon adoption and while in effect, shall amend in their entirety all prior bylaws and subdivision regulations of the town of St. Albans. So we'll not only ask you to approve it, but we will actually ask you to physically sign the map.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, so it's been moved. Any comments, discussion, questions? Any objections?
No.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Ned, thank you and the Planning Commission for the hard work you put into this thing. I know it's almost a thankless job, so thank you. Right.
Thank you very much, and
Okay.
I'm sure I'll be back soon with more bylaws and more stuff to vote on.
Not too soon, not too soon.
Not, we'll wait until like the end of March.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, town manager's report.
So the first item under here is we're hoping to hear from Kevin Briggs, who's here to talk on behalf of Franklin County Area Rescue. So I'll ask Kevin to come up. And he had put something on your desks briefly
Oh, this, okay, thank you.
to explain. We only have like 5 minutes, you know.
It'd be plenty. I never realized how much support we had from the town. They're all here to, the town workers, from the works to hear about the
For the
Franklin
Animal
County-
Rescue Association.
We haven't talked about them yet. They've all been sitting here, but I'm just confused. That's why we haven't. Anyways. So I did. I just brought this and this little pamphlet here, this little PowerPoint presentation that I had it put on the paper for you. It's I'm the new president of the Franklin County Animal Rescue. There's a long lineage. David McWilliams, he's in the back there. It was also part of this for a long time. As you know, we closed a handful of months ago, and we're trying to reestablish ourselves. The first thing I want to say out loud is I'm not looking for any money from you. Because I don't think right now we should be asking for the town select board as support. We aren't there yet. We're working there though, okay? I will come back at some point when I feel like we are ready for that. But right now, I don't think we're ready. We're still building and we're still trying to establish ourselves. What we're doing is I'm actually visiting all 14 towns within our community, and I'm presenting this here. I'm also asking for their input about what they want and what their needs are. And then from there, I'll go back with the board. We'll develop a 3-year strategic plan, and then I'll come in looking for support, because then we'll be able to work together more closely. So, I was able to meet David the other day at McDonald's. A small plug, I guess, for McDonald's. But it was wonderful to be able to hear some of the history and then to hear some of the concerns that he's had and then try to work that into some sort of a reality to help and support the town. So that's where we're at. If you want, I can go quickly through it. It's not a whole lot to it, but has a little bit of our history, has reasons as to why we needed to close back April 4th. Wasn't really any fault of anybody's. It was just really the stars weren't aligned, and there were some people were taking off some big chunks, and they unfortunately, I think they choked on it. There was the building that was bought. They also had a vet that was willing to work full time, and then that ended up not panning out, so that it just didn't work out. I don't think there wasn't any fault of any individual. They actually had grandiose ideas that just didn't come to any fruition. Throughout the last year, we've served, although it says 824, we've actually, now that we're into January or February, it's been well over 1,000 animals have actually come through there. I had somebody this afternoon or this evening was talking about bringing dogs up from the south. We don't do that. We have no dogs from the south. All these dogs, all these cats are Franklin County animals that have been surrendered. Current needs, obviously, is the space. That's really the trickiest part down there, is to say that we would love to be able to serve every single dog that comes. It's just there's only a handful of kennels that are available, and we're working on trying to create more space and by realigning that. And we would love to get some programs put in place, and you can read those there. The expenses, it costs about $250,000 to keep that place up and going for the year. It's remarkable as how much that is. We have a handful of volunteers that work diligently to try to bring that cost down. We've had a lot of donated time and materials. The New England Heating and Vent did a great job of putting heat into there finally. That's consistent throughout the entire building. In certain times of the year, you would freeze in one area and you'd be warm in the other. Another area would be freezing in that area, it'd be warm in the other. So now it's actually consistent, which is wonderful. You can see on next to last page the income. It's most of our money, over 60% of it is from donations, and it's just from the community. Everything from the $5, $25 to the little boys and girls who decide to not have a birthday and to have those gifts given to the rescue. So it's all over the place. It's pretty cool to see because, quite honestly, and I've said this to Carrie and I've said this to other people, the community is the heartbeat of the rescue. Without it, it's dead. It really is. So you need to have that community support. And then the last few slides really just talk about what we're doing, which is creating that strategic plan.
At one time, I was asked to go over and take a look at your facility
Yep.
to see if I had any ideas where you could expand. And I noticed that you don't have a lot of land over there.
I agree.
So you really can't expand the footprint of your building.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because there's a stream, swamp,
right.
wetlands all around it.
So what is, do you plan on continuing to operate at that size with only that one location?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, it's a great question, Bruce. So right now, that's really where we're at. Because I think the thinking is if we go too fast, we're not going to be able to keep up.
Right.
Right? So we have to go at a pace that's reasonable. We all have wonderful ideas, right? Our hearts are this big.
Right.
And we can't always go with our hearts. We have to really think about it strategically. My goal, my personal goal, is to do a 3-year plan of just being able to provide it for the community, and then after that 3 years is to look at some sort of the next 3 years and what that could look like. Maybe a capital improvement plan at some point,
Great.
but it's not something that I see as tackling in the next handful of years.
Well, if I can ever be of any help again, just let me know.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where is your operation now? Is it back to the old site?
It's behind. It's all across from Sticks and Stuff.
Yeah,
on Sunset
behind
Meadows.
Trainers, motors down
Right behind
there?
Trainers.
Right,
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. Yep.
okay.
Al.
Do you have an endowment fund? Endowment fund?
They are actually starting up one. It's in the process of beginning that, and I don't feel comfortable saying it out loud right now, but we will definitely make that announcement in the next few months.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. But there is.
And David, you have a question? Comment?
Under the previous president, we didn't seem to get anywhere, at least I didn't. But with Kevin, I sat down with him, talked about the issues that the town has. Perry, sat down with him, and we feel comfortable with him as the new president. Right now, we put a lot of our animals on Facebook. Our boarding bill is, for one animal that didn't seem to go right off, cost us over $300. So, if we can't get anybody to accept the animal through Facebook, under the previous Burlington Humane Society, we used to give them $150 and $100 for a cat. Can I be able to authorize to do that if they got space available?
I thought in the past we only paid for boarding dogs, but we did not pay for cats. Rather, we made a lump sum contribution to take care of the cats.
If a cat bites somebody, we have to
Right.
hold it 10 days.
Okay.
Lump. But dog, we've been very lucky with the help of all the employees upstairs and downstairs
Yeah.
to get these animals on Facebook, and we've got a lot of good response. But I had one poodle that we had in 12 days, and it cost us over $300 boarding.
Sure.
Yeah,
What I'd like to do, if I can't get it, find a new owner for it, or find the old owner, then I would like to take an office to the Humane Society, Burlington Humane Society, because they basically, at first, we were bringing animals down there, but now they said, well, the Franklin County Humane Society is open, therefore you gotta bring them there. So,
Well, I think from my perspective, I'd like to see something that we can depend upon. That you can't just say, sorry, we don't have room for you. But, if we need an outlet where we have to put an animal, we need to be sure we can get an animal there or have a backup plan. That's from our perspective.
It's a great point. So one of the things that I'm working with, we have currently there's 5 spaces available for dogs, which is 5 more than when I started a year ago. So we're moving our way towards getting that side filled. I say side, if you were to go down there, the walk-in side, the left-hand side are the cats, and the other side, the right-hand side, are the dogs. So there were 5 dogs in there at one point in the last 2 months. Right now we're down to 3. So dependability depends on space, right? So I would love to be able to say every single time we get a phone call, we can do something. But if there's 5 dogs, there's 5 dogs. I can't manufacture that. Yes, Carrie?
No, just to answer your question, I think for everyone that David asked, we can do that. We can come up with an arrangement with the Franklin County Area Rescue to pay for our services.
Yeah.
We've always been pretty fair about trying to pay for those services. So to answer your question, I'd love to come up with some sort of arrangement. I'd love it to be more permanent, but even in the interim, to pay you for those services, we are willing to do that, just to clarify.
Just in case, if anybody wants to call in, the number is 524-2415. If there are any questions or comments, please call in.
Okay.
But anyway,
I think we're good,
don't mean to
Kevin.
cut you off.
That would end
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
I'd like to talk.
Okay. Okay, Bruce would like to make a comment.
Yeah, before we get into public discussion, I'm entering my third term as a selectman in this town next March. We've had a lot of challenges in front of us, and we've had to deal with some things that weren't really pleasant, and I've never let any of those challenges bother me as much as what's happened in the last couple of days. First of all, I want to apologize to you guys that work at DPW, because by no means that I mean to ridicule you guys or question the work that you do, because I've always been a supporter of the Public Works Department. I worked in the past to get you guys raises. I've worked to give bonuses for people that went above and beyond the expectations of their job. And by no means, and from the bottom of my heart, did I mean to discredit you guys at all for the work that you do. Not at all. The statements that I made, I probably didn't make them clear enough, but you can bet that they were taken out of context. The only reason that I won't get into the whole thing, because I really don't want to argue about anything. The thing that I wanted to do most importantly is to apologize to you guys if I offended you, and to let you know that I am here to support you in the efforts that you do. And you guys do a good job. I complimented Alan on the work that was done on Prospect Hill during the last couple of snowstorms. I live up there. I go to work early in the morning. I do the same thing you do. If there's a snowstorm, I got to get up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning and go and drive a plow truck. So I understand the work that you do. I thank you for the work that you do. And I wanted to let you guys know that by no means that I mean to discredit you guys in any way, shape, or form. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce, thank you. So having said that, now, we feel it's incumbent upon the select board to really take a look at the situation, see how things are, how we compare with other towns of the community, the people with whom we compete, to ensure that we're certainly within range of striking distance in terms of salary, benefits, and the whole package. So that's going to be starting right now to get the data to find out what the facts are. And we'll all know about them soon enough, I think. Okay, so...
I'd like to say one thing. The town manager and the director of public works identified a problem in our pay scale, and they did make a recommendation for raises for certain employees who had been with us long enough that were being underpaid, and we rejected that recommendation.
Wait a second.
I think, whoa, you're talking
Time
out of
out.
term here.
Your facts are wrong. So I think we should wait until we get this thing, find out exactly what the facts are.
Not to put Carrie on the spot, did you propose a series of raises on paper?
I did ask for a certain amount, a pay scale increase at our budget meetings. I did.
But every March,
Relax.
we shouldn't really be talking about.
It was a macro
I think-
number, a total number.
It was.
That's
Yep.
what we're talking about.
But I backed it up with spreadsheets that
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Right.
making a
There were
recommendation.
individual
But having said what I said earlier, it still holds. We have to find out exactly where we are vis-a-vis other employees in the community and surrounding communities to make sure we're in the right place.
And what you've asked me to be more specific is to get it done in about 2 weeks. So we're not talking
Well-
about making this last for months. Well, I'm supposed to come back to you in 2 weeks so you can
Well,
decide on that.
I also suggested that I'd rather wait a few weeks longer to get it right and accurate than rush it and miss things. So it's
Well, my point
I
is that
don't
we're
think
not going to be talking about this for 3 months. We want to look at it,
Fair
address,
enough.
ask questions, and resolve it.
okay. Having said that, it's incumbent upon you to get us accurate data in as timely a manner as you see fit.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as
Hey.
part of that salary line that she presented that a quorum of the board said no to, she did back it up with employee by employee, current salaries,
That was a list of
and proposed.
how she made up the budget. Nothing is written in stone there. You know that, Brendan.
Well, I'm looking at.
We don't sit down and approve pay raises until June.
Well, I mean, honestly, just to clarify, I'm supposed to set the pay raises, and the select board as a whole sets policy. They set pay scale.
Yeah.
And
You know,
so
when I said I think this whole thing is getting a little out of hand, we're not refusing to give these guys raises. Not refusing. We never would, and we never have done that, to my knowledge.
I think you guys are being misunderstood here because this has nothing to do with the raise that comes
Okay.
in July.
Okay.
Those are reviews that I write, and Carrie and I sit down and do that.
Mhm.
This is something that Carrie and I came up with, is that we have senior employees that are, well, Tori here is leaving us.
Don't mess his hair up, please.
For the simple case that he's been here for quite a few years, and we're underpaying him compared to what I'm able to bring other people in. So I was trying to bring in senior employees up to a pay scale that is suitable. But instead, I'm losing a senior employee to a neighboring town for $2 an hour more than what we're giving them, plus benefits being paid. I've done some of the research. I started calling the towns. We are paying our people less than other towns. I didn't want to get in the thick of that, but this has nothing to do with our normal rates. This has to do with taking my senior people that are dedicated and giving them what they deserve. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Well, having said that, Alan, you've done some research, and that has not been disseminated, certainly to me.
Well,
So
actually,
we're operating in
in the
a.
spreadsheet, we had looked at the VLCT
Well,
book.
if you look historically, the spreadsheet is a method for developing a gross number for the budget. That's how that came. So anyway, we're not going to resolve anything tonight, so
No,
I
get
think
that.
we should just
I
move
just
on.
want you guys to understand
Yeah.
where we're coming from. It's not our yearly raise. This is something to take our workers that.
You know, if you're saying this from a systemic point of view, we're out of step with folks.
We are out of step.
Okay, so that's what you're saying.
Yes.
So that's what should be verified factually with what we know in the marketplace, not just out of the blue. So you find it, have real comparisons, and we'll know for sure.
They've
So,
done that.
Alan, are you saying that
Okay.
you want to bring them
They've done that.
up to the comparable rates before June?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
There was a
I'm talking to
recommendation to
Alan,
make.
not you.
Look,
There was a recommendation to
Brendan,
make in January, and we didn't do it. We said no.
There's no factual basis behind that.
Yes, there is. She reviewed data that's put out annually by
Oh.
VLCT showing pay scales in neighboring municipalities. And by the way, this board should not be interfering with the town manager's ability to retain and acquire qualified candidates for employment. We should not be involved in the day-to-day management of employees. And for that reason, I'll go the way to make a motion to allow the town manager to perform her duties in maintaining and acquiring existing and new employees as she sees fit in regard to our pay scale. She made a recommendation, we said no. The only way that we could get it right would be immediate, to say we accept her recommendation. She identified an issue, she made a proposal to give salary increases. The proposal that she made may have kept someone on board, but we rejected it. And now we're here backpedaling, trying to give sunshine and rainbows. We're going to go down, we're going to make the world okay. Accept her recommendations. That's my motion.
I'd like to amend your motion. We have a list of about 20 questions that we talked about, not talked about, just specific questions, that we will cover everything in the next 2 weeks. And we do have money in the budget. If there is money due to a senior person or a new hire, it will be given to them. This board would agree to it. We agree to it.
His proposal. I think it's fair.
I want to.
Let the town manager do her job.
She is going to do the interview. I want her to interview each one of these guys to see.
What we want is immaterial. It's her job.
This isn't IBM or some other big place where they pay a lot of money or have a lot of benefits or any of that other stuff. This is a little small town. These guys earn their money. I'm up early in the morning and they help me when my wife and I went off the road. They go down there plowing roads so I can get out at 1 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think that we stood in the way of Alan and Carrie hiring anybody.
Right. But I wouldn't want to see anybody leave either.
Oh, no, we don't either. You know, it's a common fact. It's well known that it's cheaper to retain people than it is to go out and recruit people. So there's a lot of things.
That proposal, to me, what Brendan
Well,
said would be perfect.
There's no reason for it. We're not stopping her from hiring out. We've never told Carrie or Alan that there was somebody that they couldn't hire.
That's double talk.
No, it's not. It's the truth.
all right.
We're carrying away here. Back up.
Okay, hold on a second.
These guys
I think it's incumbent. Hold on a second. It's incumbent on the board to ensure that any proposals, that any decisions taken are based on objective evidence and not, gee, I feel this, I feel that, I feel the other thing. And that's where we are.
2 weeks from tonight.
As I just said, I think if it can be done in 2 weeks, fine.
I'll be here.
But I also said, I don't think it can be done in 2 weeks.
It is people's livelihood that you're discussing.
I'm sorry, what's your name? What's your name? For the camera, tell them. No,
I have
come
a
on.
motion out.
Yeah, we heard it. What, you want to say something? What's your name? Please, I mean, no.
No, I mean, it
It's,
seems as
Don't
though
put her on
that
the
you're
spot,
not
Bill.
open to listening.
Don't tell me how to-
suggestions, but It is people's livelihood, that's all I ask you to consider.
fair enough.
But it's
It's-
not something that's just paperwork, it's just spreadsheets, there are also other things
Okay.
come into play.
Dave, you have another comment?
I got one, Bill.
Dave, you're next. Dave is next.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No.
Well, as you guys know, I've been on the select board, and it's very hard to make a decision whether you want to give employees raises. Yeah, we have a good select board, but we also have to realize we got outstanding employees.
There's
When
no
the employees come out at night or on a weekend, or whether the septic system over at the industrial park's not working, we need to support them. This is reasons why a lot of towns are going to go union, because of the fact the employees feel that they're not being heard. We have a decent package as far as their benefits, but as far as the pay, when a guy comes in and he's making almost equal to a guy who's been there 4 or 5 years, it makes it a lot of animosity in that group.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take care of our employees. And if we don't, I can have the Teamsters in here in 2 weeks, organizing a union here, and I don't want to do that. That's why you guys need to take care of those employees, because they're outstanding employees, and I think we don't recognize them enough, especially at 2 o'clock in the morning, or the snowstorms and the ice storms that we've had. So we need to support those people and support their families, because they take a lot of time away from their family. You know, I know you, a select board, you know, we all have a different opinion, but take care of those people and take care of our employees in the town of St. Albans. Or you're going to have, like in adjoining cities and towns where there's such a turnover, you know, don't have qualified people. You got job descriptions, another in the city, you know, they have job descriptions. People, you know, sometimes are qualified and unqualified. But these guys are doing an outstanding job. You know, I've been up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I hear them go by. In fact, I hear Frankie when he goes down through. But we need to support all of our employees. And if we don't, then we're being stupid.
I agree.
In my opinion.
I think this
Okay,
gentleman
Bob?
he had his hand up.
Bob?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, gentlemen. I think everybody knows me here, so.
Just in case, Bob.
I can tell you right now, I know that your jobs, I've always said that the select board is the most thankless job there is out there. You guys take the heat for everything, and yet sometimes you deserve the heat for everything. You are here to work for us, the taxpayer. When Mr. McWilliams was talking about wanting an answer or to discuss things now, I think as taxpayers we have the right to ask that. When I listen to some of the meetings and read the paper of some of the comments made by the select board, there's no I on the select board. You have a view just like I have a view in the town of St. Albans. And if you're speaking for me, I want you to say we. Okay, just because you don't like what the budget is doesn't mean that I might not like what the budget is. I think these guys work very hard for the money that they get. And I understand the whole situation, and I think that it's wrong the way that things are being done right now. Well, I'm not going to get into that. I'm just here to tell you that, talking as a taxpayer of St. Albans Town, I want you to speak for me, not for yourselves, because that's not what you ran on when you campaigned on the town of St. Albans to run on the select board. You came here to say you were going to be my voice, not your voice. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Anybody else have a comment out there?
You had your hand up, didn't you?
My comment was the
No?
city of St. Albans wants to hire Alan Master back, and we wanted to keep him here in St. Albans town.
That's for sure.
Bill,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we obviously have a real problem. And I think we need to be pound wise, not penny foolish. And at this point in time, we do have a crisis among our DPW employees. They feel, and they are, underpaid into what jobs they can find. I hear the need to, so to speak, get our facts out before we make any decisions. On the other hand, if we don't act, from my opinion, tonight, to support the town manager going forward with adjusting the pay rates for these people, we are going to put them in a very difficult emotional bind. And these are the guys that we need to respond immediately when it ever snows or rains or freezing rain like we have outside tonight. So I think to get beyond this problem that we have facing with the community right now is that we ought to allow the town manager to adjust their salaries to be whatever it is. She already has those facts. And we can move on later on with the town manager's help, to look at the facts that she derives from what Alan and she have done and to verify them with the other communities and the commercial events, people that are hiring truck drivers in our community. So I will support Brendan's motion to let's move forward now to solve an emotional crisis that has developed.
Right. I agree with Al. I agree with everything he said, but I don't think we have to make a special motion to recognize the situation that we've got here. All we need to do is correct it, right? And authorize Kerry to go ahead and bring these people up to where they should be. There's no rocket science. There's no rocket science.
We were just arguing against that 20 minutes ago.
Wait, let's just move
Would
forward.
you just be quiet for a minute?
No, I won't.
All right. This can go on and on and on.
So, Kerry, I'll make a motion to support what he did. Just let Kerry go ahead. Kerry and Alan get together and figure out where these guys should be and get them there.
Right. So you're supporting Brendan's motion. Is that understood?
That's my motion. It's not Brendan's.
It's mine, but okay.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Don't you have to get rid of one before you get another?
Let's
not
just
worry
get it
about
done.
Let us worry about that.
Let's just get it done.
Move forward.
Yeah, I'll just say, taking up what Bob says, our obligation is to act in what we see as in the best interest of the town. The easy answer here is say, give anybody what they want. You want $2? That's not enough. Give them 4. Give them 5. Just hold on a second.
Parts of your town,
Hold on a
fire
second.
department and your town highway department.
Hold on a second. So the easy thing is just say, take what you want, take what you want. Don't worry about it. However, I think it's completely incorrect to make those kinds of recommendations and decisions without a strong factual base. For that reason, I can't support either of these motions.
Well, let me say this. I think with the situation that we have on hand, we got a strong factual base.
I don't see that.
I do.
Anyway.
Vote on the motion.
Okay, so we vote let's take on Brendan's motion first.
Repeat the motion.
I make a motion to authorize the town manager to adjust DPW pay scales per employee at her discretion with the end goal of retaining and attracting qualified candidates.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
But I also would like to go and take care of the other piece of it.
And follow through with what you're going to do.
Wait, Bruce,
And I will agree to a salary adjustment, but we must go further and see if there's anything else. These guys have to have some upward mobility. I mean, they get money, that's fine, but after a while, they're stagnant in a place, and they don't want to be stagnant. They want to, what can I do to achieve a next level? What can I look forward to? And that's what I want to achieve with an interview with Carrie to see how the other towns are paying, how they're doing their health benefits, how they're doing their sick time, how they calculate vacation. If you work 60 hours overtime, which you guys work a lot of overtime in the winter, is it all pay, or can you take that in vacation or other benefits? What do the other towns do? So we can be as good as other towns, if not better. I want to pay equal to or better than the other towns. And I want equal to or better benefits than other towns.
And the other thing that we're working to do right now is improve the lousy working conditions that you're working in.
Well, let's get his motion finished
Well,
first.
All right, as long as that's included in,
Absolutely. I think we can do it all.
if we can do it all, I'm happy.
Let's make Stan happy.
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay.
So,
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
One opposed. And I oppose on the principle that we haven't done our homework, which we should do, and in that sense, we are doing a disservice to the town.
Carrie did our homework for
Will
us.
you hang on a minute?
Okay.
So I don't think by taking the easy way out, we're fulfilling our obligations. Do the homework, get it right. You heard me say earlier tonight at a meeting, we have 4 different grades of equipment operator. That's nonsense. You should be able to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, so you move up the line. But having said that, that's the end of that argument. So it's, 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
Bill, just real quick. Carrie and I have actually been working on a step system with this whole program. So if you're just an operator 1, it's X amount of range. An operator 2, and if you have a class 8. So it is something Carrie and I have.
But you see, I hope you appreciate the problem. You guys may be working on it, but none of us are aware of it. So we're supposed to be in the same place. We're not communicating. It's all well and good. I think you have to get those grades. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm just Kevin Briggs, not associated with FCAR right now. I hear that comment, and I have to wonder the role of the board. Is it really the board's role? And this is out of stupidity. is it really the board's role to be in the weeds when it comes with Alan and Carrie creating a chart?
No, it isn't.
Then,
It isn't.
then that comment is inappropriate. That there was lack of communication because, and you said now you can feel our pain, or you can feel whatever you said. Now you can feel that confusion on our end because that wasn't communicated. I don't know if that's necessarily needs to be communicated. That's Alan and Carrie's job.
Well, if somebody's going to suggest a hierarchy for salaries and wages and
I don't know if
benefits,
it's a suggestion or if this is what
or a
we plan on.
proposal, whatever you want, okay, and that would end up to the board because it's a policy issue.
I think that every one of you guys should understand, though.
Yes.
You know, where you are right now. You know what your new pay increase is going to be, and where you max out in your position. So you got to understand that too, because every job you apply, most jobs you apply for on a job application, it says you start at $32,000 a year and it maxes out at 42. So you got to understand that. That way, you guys can be looking ahead, looking forward for the upward mobility that Al's trying to structure within the organization and move up. There's a lot of things, there's things that we've talked about in the background that you guys don't know about, that are benefits and things that we want to provide for you that we've got to iron out. And I'm not at liberty to discuss them right now because we talked about them in executive session. Okay? But I think, you know what? I think that, I hate to say this, but I think that some of the comments I made brought this all to a head. And something good came out of it.
I agree with that very much.
Okay. So, do we have another motion you want to make, Bruce?
Well, I don't
I don't know.
know.
You wanting to make some kind of a motion?
I didn't know. No. I agree with his motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, is there anything else you want to say on this? Any of you guys want to say anything?
I would just like to say I want to thank John and Brad for joining us. I'm sorry this was your very first meeting, but I want to just wave, say thank you. Yep. This is their very first meeting.
You're Brad, and I know John.
This is
right?
not
Okay.
normally how we start things, but we welcome you to our crew.
Things will only get
Tori
better.
is here. Frank in the back, a longtime employee. Bob Davis over there with the gray hat.
There's no chance of you staying?
No, the new job I have is closer to home, so, and not only that, benefits package is a little bit better.
So what is?
Thank you for the good work that you did when you were here.
Good luck in your new position.
And I would like to thank not only you for your past work, but all the new employees for your current and future work. I live on French Hill, and one of the trucks was pushing snow back on that first right up to those houses. And I was waiting for you because I wanted to stop and talk to you, but you never came. I waited 5 minutes, and I don't know where you went, but in any case, I do appreciate all the work you do, and particularly when I hear you go by at 2 a.m, I tell you, I'm awake still. Everybody else is sleeping, but I know they can go to work at 3 and 4 in the morning while I go to bed.
At least we didn't lose them to the city.
And guys, thanks for not taking my mailbox out.
The snow season isn't over.
Thank you.
So, Bill, I want to thank the board for allowing me to speak.
Okay,
Taxpayer, so.
we're not going to keep you quiet, Bob. You know that.
Hey, Bob.
Even if we wanted to.
Bob,
right?
could we have stopped you?
Right.
Just make sure when you guys all leave, you shake hands with each other.
We will.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you, Brennan.
You guys don't want to hear about your new garage?
They have to get up pretty early.
Oh.
Hey, who's the big guy?
He works here with us.
Has he been here long?
Yeah.
What's the fellow's name with the gray hat?
Bob.
Davis.
Bob Davis. Okay.
I guess I can minimize. Yep. Did I miss it? I'll just close out of it. Everybody knows.
So, Alan, hopefully you'll have a pleasant day tomorrow.
No, he won't. I could tell that.
article, things get a little crazy.
Okay, so what do we have next?
I'm gonna talk about DPW if I can get it up on the
Yeah,
screen.
just double click it.
Oh, that's what I'm not doing.
There
I'm
you
used
go.
to a touch screen, I guess. I can't keep changing computers. So I'm going to briefly go over our DPW presentation. This is what I'm hoping, well, I will be giving tomorrow at Rotary. This is what I'm also going to present with any of your edits at our public meeting, which is going to be March 4th. And we can certainly use some excerpts from it, but this is what we'll start with. So the project obviously is our Department of Public Works relocation project. And we want to start, this is a pretty short meeting, the presentation is like 5 or 6 minutes. Why do we need it? We're going to go into, and some people haven't seen it, those of us on the board have, but this is our current entrance to DPW. This is a Google Earth view of the DPW, and as most people can see, you don't see it from the road. We do have a lot of on-site storage to the north of that. It's pretty close to the lake. And our current structures, there's 3 big structures there, don't adequately hold all of our things because what you can't see is a white, basically, shipping container that's up there. That holds all of our signs right now. It holds things like our voting booths, and you can obviously see some of our equipment outside. People, not everyone who, they just don't understand. I actually hadn't seen this view in a little while. So we also took some pictures inside. So the first one, starting on the left, just an example of at this time of year when we get the freeze and thaw cycle and trucks come in with snow on them, there's puddles. Our people have to work in and around that to keep the trucks maintained. The middle one is just a view of storage. We put things wherever we can. The picture on the right is our current restroom for the Public Works employees, the toilet being to the right of that shop sink. So certainly it's a challenge to maintain. I don't know, it's just, I can't even explain it. That's just a unacceptable level.
Terry, I got a question.
Yeah.
If we get the new Public Works Department, are we taking a washer with us?
I think we're not going to do that.
Just the sink, just the sink.
That's a dryer, Bill.
Oh, that's a dryer?
Yeah,
The washer has a
Oh,
lid on.
man, you mean water's been hitting the dryer?
that's even worse, yeah. This is another example of some of the roof. We're having some issues with the roof, and yes, I'm sure as a homeowner, the next question if I was a taxpayer would be, why aren't you fixing that? We have had people on our roof at all times of year attempting to find the source, but water is so nasty once it finds its way. They have been unable to find the source of the leak.
So that's a ceiling, right?
That is our ceiling. It's hard to tell, but that is our ceiling. This is the original and first garage, right? Old garage in fire department, I think it was at one point. We currently use it as cold storage because it just at least keeps them out of the rain. The problem is the doors and tracks aren't usable anymore, so we can no longer shut those doors, which means that whenever we get a freeze thaw, which we've been getting a lot this winter, inches of water kind of come into the building and then freeze there. But that doesn't stop us from trying to store things there. One of the issues, though, and under that tarp is one of our new tractors, is that with the inability to close the building, the pigeons move in and don't leave. So
Don't
that
even clean up behind themselves.
it is awful. They don't. They're very rude. So they leave piles and inches of that in our salt shed as well.
That's saleable, guano.
We could not go there. That's not in our job description. So that's an example of the roof that's in that old garage. At one point, I'm sure it was fine, but at this point, the lighting is inadequate, and the roof, really, that building just needs to be torn down. This is just another example of where we're storing stuff in there. The current salt shed, we bring you this shot because I don't think there's anything functionally wrong with the salt shed, but its location and proximity to the lake is problematic. And I think that shot kind of brings that home, as well as this is from a snowbank right behind our salt shed. There is a much better use for this location than a salt shed. So what are we proposing? That's the next question. We're hoping with the first part, we're kind of establishing the need. We're proposing a new garage This also shows you the salt shed in the back. It's a 9-bay garage with 2 bays used for storage and repairs of vehicles. And on the far end, away from this end, you see with the little blue car, is a wash bay.
Did I see 11 doors there, Carrie?
There's 11, but one of them is purely for storage, and another one is for repair. So yes, you're actually right.
So there's actually 11 bays.
There's 11 doors, but
11 doors, okay.
The
There's
first
a-
one it's walled off.
Yeah.
You can see it on that floor.
Is-
there's 11.
Is the last one the wash bay?
The 12th is the wash bay.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Will you go back to the picture, Sharon?
Yes.
The salt shed is the drive-through?
No.
No.
It looks like it is from here.
Well, it's a door on both sides, but there's a dividing wall.
How high up is the wall so the salt and sand don't?
The concrete walls will all be the same height. I believe they're
10 foot?
No, I think they're 12 to
12
15.
feet, I think.
Okay.
But
Just
I
doesn't
think
show.
'Cause that looks like it's wide open.
Yeah.
they're actually supposed to have a wood wall on top of that. I think just the rendering is
So-
just showing.
It's the rendering it's
Yeah.
on,
That
okay.
separates the salt from the sand.
So you
All right.
can
Yes.
see that there's a door there.
All right.
And it is, I mean, that's 30 feet, right, in the middle, 30 feet high.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going to have,
38 feet.
it's pretty high,
High?
Yeah.
so that the extra large salt trucks can tip inside the building as opposed to
Our
outside.
whole salt shed's right around 22, 23 feet high, and you can't lift the truck fully in it.
So we have to push it all in the shed after they deliver.
Now we do.
Now we do. That is not what we're proposing. That's
So what do you
The
do?
tractor trailer should be able to back in and lift up.
You unload it outside and put it in with your front end loaders?
Well, the tractor trailer gets its back of the truck inside the doorway, but most of the salt is on the outside
Okay.
of the doorway, so we have to push it in with the loader.
That's why you can't bank it anywhere and it runs into the lake.
Exactly.
And is that building leaking too, the roof and everything in the
No.
salt
No,
shed?
structurally, that building's okay.
It's structurally, the old salt shed's in good
All
shape.
right.
Is that something that could possibly be used for some sort of storage until we decide what we're gonna do with it?
I think
Yeah.
someone could.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they want to hose it out or whatever, once
Yeah.
the material's out.
Yeah.
but
Well, I was just thinking fire department, you, somebody, I mean.
Go back 2 years down the road.
Yeah, the salt
Well, it's
shed's
just
going to
a
take a little
idea.
bit. So what,
Utilization of assets.
absolutely. So what the new garage is talking about is the garage area itself, about 18,500 square feet. We already went over this, but that's what we were trying to explain next, was that it includes an office, a break room, administrative storage, 2 unisex bathrooms, and, mechanical sprinkler room, that kind of stuff. This is the floor plan. No, it's hard to see, but we also have boards behind you that will show that if anyone wants a closer look. The layout's pretty straightforward. The thing to the right is the wash bay. Left is the admin area. And the salt shed is the second part of this proposal. We're talking about a 6,000 square foot building, partition bays for salt and sand, and cold storage. That's what those shed roofs on each side were about, just to put all our equipment out of the snow and the water. That's a floor plan. Now, it's not very exciting, but you can see we use mostly salt, but we still have sand just for the ice that we got recently. It's not really a 3D. What will it cost? We have gotten separate bids for the construction of the garage. Right here, we're at a little, just under 3 million. Can show what we have in there for contingency, design services, and soft costs. Oh, sorry. Did you need that? Okay. Changed it. The salt shed itself, we have some V-Trans soft costs, some design service costs, and then the construction costs themselves. And so when you combine it, without subtracting all of the grants, it's a little over 4. And how will we pay for it? That's where we get to the number you guys are familiar with. So you have the infrastructure fee, local option tax. We have impact fee funds, highway salvage fund, the capital equipment fund, capital projects, and a salt shed grant. So when you subtract the salt shed grant, that's where you get the $3.8 million that's on our warning for
It's
town.
not over 4 million. I thought it was 3.844.
Yeah, that's after the,
Yeah, after the salt shed grant is removed
Grant,
from the cost.
the bottom line is
Yeah.
3844.
Yep.
There's one thing that we haven't addressed, and I think for a forward-thinking person would probably want to know what our estimated cost is to maintain a building like that.
Is that a question?
Yeah, I'm thinking that somebody might ask that,
Oh,
and if they do,
absolutely, yeah, and we've
are we
already-
prepared to answer that?
I'm not today, but we have asked the engineers to give us an operation and maintenance plan for it. Right now, I'm hoping it's not a lot, but right now we're inefficiently trying to heat all these old spaces, and it's pretty horrible. But yeah, so definitely we will get that. And the last time I did this in another town, engineers were very eager to do that. They just work with the life safety people and figure out roughly how much it's going to cost us
Well, it's
to.
important because you got to maintain it after
Yep.
you purchase it.
Absolutely, and
And-
we intend to.
It
Yep.
logically would be cheaper to maintain than what you've got over there right now.
Yes. Yeah, but you're right, numbers. No, today I don't have those numbers. The engineers, we've been pushing them really hard now for a month, but we're in this lull, so this is probably a good time to ask them that. So the important part of this slide is total cost to town, $3,800,000, but the total cost to the general fund, in other words, are we going to raise anyone's taxes, is zero. We anticipate being able to, and we do have funds to do that, cover the cost of this project. And those of us here know that, but I think it's important for anyone considering the 4 talking points that we talked about, which are, we need it, its current location is undersized with no economical way to expand. We have saved funds. We are using a $376,000 grant. Third, the wash bay that we're putting in here, we hope will extend equipment life and provide a water filling station for our fire department. And fourth, the new location is better for the environment, and future use of this vacated property on the lake will be determined by the public and taxpayers at another point in the future.
Nice presentation.
There you go.
I was just thinking in promoting this to the public, and we're going through the same thing at work right now. We're going to try to get a new district office for the school district, and you're talking over $1 million, and it's a hard sale, because you're increasing school taxes, and they're doing everything possible to be as transparent as possible, to include, which I attended it last Saturday, and it was a pretty good turnout. They had a continental breakfast with a question and answer period for the public, and they invited them. And that was proved to be pretty good.
Yeah, wherever you offer food, you can get
It was on
So-
a Saturday morning,
Yep.
where people weren't, didn't have obligations at work and stuff like that. And it
So
was,
last but not least, I want to mention that we're trying our best to employ as many local vendors as possible. And right now we have our design team from Cross Consulting, Connor Contracting is our general contractor, and one of the other subs is Harrison Concrete. So we're going to continue to do that, and we are planning a open house on February 21st from 4:30 to 6:30 at the DPW. And Alan and I will be there. We are asking the select board to attend, and somebody from Connor Contracting will be there, and Pete Garso from Cross Consulting will be there to answer any questions. So, and we will have some refreshments. That's what reminded me when you said that evening, just light refreshments and an open house at our Department of Public Works.
Can I also say that Cross Consulting has their offices in St. Albans Town. Connor and his family live in St. Albans Town. I'm not sure where the business is.
it's on Main Street, South Main Street.
One of them is, yes.
And Harrison Concrete, I know they have a daughter who lives on French Hill.
And they own property along the Quam Shore,
Okay.
if I remember right.
So the money will be spent in town, and the profits will also be spent in town.
Yeah, so, oh, geez, and I have paper copies if anyone wants one.
Yeah, I would have.
Made all these
I want to see you
copies.
have one for Wednesday.
Yes,
A quick question, Alan, do you know offhand what the square footage is of all the covered area at the Georgia facility, excluding the salt shed?
at the Georgia Shore.
Roughly.
I don't offhand. I can get it for you.
I just like, maybe for Wednesday.
Square footage at the present location?
Yeah, yeah.
But nothing's else.
Oh, that's not hard to do. Time consuming, that's all. If you got the
Yeah, it's just,
Wednesday, Bill and I and Alan are going on St. Albans today.
Television. Oh, okay.
Tomorrow is Rotary, and like I said, the 21st is our open house. We are going to be sending a mailer out to people. We have not finalized that yet.
I watched the last one that you guys were on.
Oh,
Pretty good. Well, actually, you sent it to us.
I did.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not sure if we put it on our website yet, though.
signs by their name.
okay.
So I think that's it for the DPW portion. Just wanted to let everyone know, and I'm hoping maybe Michael will help us get the word out that we're having an open house on the 21st of February at DPW,
Thank you, Michael.
At what time?
4:30 to 6:30.
And
So we're hoping you can still see it and that there's a little more light, at least for an hour. It's difficult to see because it's not certainly meant to be walked about in the dark. It's not a good idea. So. And the last item, I gotta get out of this, on our agenda is the Act 250 hearing that you were just copied on. That's fairly straightforward. There's no action. That's part of the land use permit at Franklin Park West. It's an extension of car dealership right across from Paquin's, or what's now called
Nissan.
Ocon. Yes, I think it's
Ocon,
Nissan.
yeah, right.
So what, could you repeat that? What's going on here?
They're expanding their parking lot, and they needed an Act 250 permit to expand their parking lot at the, is it Nissan or Mitsubishi?
Nissan.
Nissan's
At the
there, yeah.
Nissan dealership across from Bocon's in that corner.
Boy, they've got some inventory up there, places.
Yeah, they do.
I think
but
they were in violation
I-
of zoning,
yeah,
so
I was-
they had to go to.
Right. They're becoming compliant right now.
But they brought back what was a failing business up there. Didn't seem to be well, they closed it. They reopened it.
Why?
That Nissan dealership was closed at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When Paquin had it?
I don't know who owned it, but it did close.
I put the schedule for that open house on your red pen as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
And that's it. I don't have anything else for right now.
You have any public, sorry.
A public comment.
I just have one ad. Our next meeting was scheduled for President's Day, and we are actually holding it on Wednesday, the 20th, February 20th.
Yeah, okay, that's no change, though.
Okay.
It's not a change, but it's a change from our normal night, because it's Wednesday.
Second one this year.
It is a lot of holidays on
Getting to
Mondays.
be norm for the year.
Anything else?
No, I wanted to make a
Yes.
comment.
As people know or may know, I'm a member of the Veterans Valet Service at the hospital, and the hospital has requested that we, who are members of the valet service, wear red in remembrance of the Breast Women's Cancer Advisory, raising money for the research for breast cancer, and also for all those other people that suffer from cancer that also need support during the time of their illnesses. So this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so we ask you to wear red for that.
Al, what exactly do they do, that valet service? What does it consist of?
So what it consists of is there's either one or two veterans on duty at the entrance to the hospital, not the outpatient service. And they do, for those people who need help getting out of the car or into a wheelchair, we're there to help them do that. We see a lot of, if you will, children bringing their parents to the hospital, and then the car becomes a burden. So we'll park the car for them, and then retrieve the car when they come out of the hospital or out of their appointment visit. And lastly, when the shuttle is working, we also drive that around through the parking lots to pick up people once they park their cars to get them back to either one of the hospital entrances.
I mean, shuttle doesn't work. That was part of the reason for them asking for an increase was to pay that shuttle off, wasn't it?
Part of it is also to repair the shuttle.
Oh, it's not a new one?
It is a new one, yes. The problem is that the shuttle, for whatever reason, has had problems because of the cold weather. For some reason, I think I'm right, that the battery discharge or is weaker because of the cold weather. The chemical reactions aren't generating enough electricity to move the shuttle around fast enough. And somehow or other, an electrical problem developed in the accelerator. So it's back in Massachusetts being examined and
So
repaired.
it's on warranty then?
Yes.
Under warranty?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So once it returns, we'll be then driving around the parking lots, picking up. But as I see it, I've done 2 weeks now. I'm past the trainee stage. It is mostly to help people that are infirm, or in one case this past week we had a child that was very, very sick, and the mother could not find a taxi and to come quickly and get her and her child home. And so we intervened, and while we were intervening to find a quick way to get her home, a Good Samaritan came by and took her home.
Oh, really? That's great. I'll commend you for your service, but you're not touching my car.
Let's hope you don't need them to touch your car.
As you told me stories about your driving.
Right.
Okay, any public comment? Okay, the schedule you've already done. Other business, you've just done that now. Okay.
Move to adjourn?
No, it's too early. Yeah, it's all right, so anybody opposed to adjourning? No. Motion carries. Thank you.
Guys have to sign the map.